This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, wow, so serious.
I know, right? All right, man. What's going on?
Hey, Quincy, good to speak with you again.
I know it's been a long time, man. It's like I think the last time we did this was like last year around this time. No, it wasn't around this time. It was like spring or
Summer.
something.
Yeah,
Something like that.
summer, spring. Yeah, I remember the last time we talked, GM was actually like $53. You and I were talking about GM, and one of my predictions about GM actually was that GM is going to be like $60, 65 by the end of the year of last year. If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen just so we can talk about like give it a little recap, right, of GM
Oh
since that
yeah,
wasn't what I think we talked
yes.
about.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
So I actually cannot share my screen. Can you give me access to share the screen
Yeah.
real quick? So,
Let me see how to do that. Share screen. Try it now.
all right, we got this. We got this. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over. Can you see my screen?
Yep, can see it.
All right, perfect. So yeah, one of my predictions by the end of the year of last year was that GM was going to go to 60. So if we look over here, here is December 20th, and here is December 30th, right? December 31st. It's kind of hard. So December 31st was 58, right? And
Uh-huh.
if we go to January 3rd, the first trading day of the year, 61. So I was very close by the end of the year, right? I mean, on December 31st, it was $58. But hey, prediction's a prediction. That was pretty good. We went all the way to 60 almost by the end of the year. But then at the start of the year, we obviously went even higher. If we go to like this past week, we totally shot up to 65. So I was very close on the money. I mean, the first day of the year was $60.
Wait,
So
so how what was your process for know like how did you know that? Like what went into like the thinking of like how this is gonna be around 60, 62, 63?
right.
What was thought process?
Sure, sure. That's a great question. So let's go to year, right? Let's go back to last year. So when you and I talked, I'm gonna just give a ballpark guess, right? It was around. I actually believe that you and I spoke even like when it was in like the 40s. I actually think we talked like towards the end of the summer, but regardless of when we spoke, right? I mean, when we talked, GM was not at 60. So the reason I knew that it was going to go to that range is because of the news, right? The news plays a lot of it plays a big role, right, when it comes to stocks. And I knew like GM has a lot of plans with EV, which stands for electric vehicles. So I just had a feeling like, okay, if you look at the grand scheme of things when it comes to the EV market, right? Like everyone knows like Tesla owns that. But like as of I want to say like the last couple of years, Tesla has been struggling, not like as far as profit, but they've been struggling with their vehicles because of the quality, right? Like that's a huge controversy right now with the Tesla vehicles. Like they're known for that not having great quality.
Really?
And the other part of
I
it,
didn't know that. I didn't know
well,
that.
yeah, it's actually if you I'm not going to do it here because I'm focused on GM, but if you actually Google Tesla quality and then just hit news, you'll see a lot of different articles about it. Somebody recently like blew up their car, their Tesla, for like it was worth like a ton of money, and they blew it up because of like $22,000 in repairs that they needed to do and maintenance. So yeah, it's quite expensive to maintain a type of vehicle like a Tesla, right? So with that in mind, like General Motors, Ford, all these other companies know that like they have the opportunity to dethrone Tesla. So like the reason I had a feeling that GM and even Ford was going to go up, I know we talked about GM specifically, was because of the fact that the government uses a lot of GM and like Ford vehicles, right, for their like police vehicles, their government vehicles and so forth. So just looking at the track record, I just had a feeling like, okay, EV, the government's going to be big on EV. This is where the future is going to go. And if you look at the chart here, I mean, just looking at this thing, right? Like almost mid 2020, it was like $22, right? So if you just look at it, it's going to rebound, right? So Yeah, you just know it's going to rebound, you know, when you look at it. And even Ford. So I actually own Ford myself. So like Ford is another great one because I mean, if you look at the growth of Ford, let's go to 1 year actually. I mean, look at this. Ford was like at
I
$9
had
a year
no
ago.
idea. That is a beautiful looking chart.
Yeah. Yeah, Ford is a good one. I had a feeling Ford was also going to go up just because I mean, you know, Ford has been around for over 100 years. You know, Ford has been around forever. And this is a well-known brand. This is like a huge brand. And everyone knows like in general, right? All these great car companies, all these big car companies, everyone's going to jump into the EV space. You know, you got the Nissan Leaf, you got um, the Chevy Volt, for example, which is GM, which is another reason why I knew it was going to go up. You got all these great vehicles, right? They're all going to go into EV. You got the new Mustang that just came out recently. So with that being said, this market for EV is going to just continue to blow up, especially with North American companies, even like Toyota. I don't know if you saw recently, but Toyota is going to really expand their EV vehicles as well. They're going to definitely get involved more with EV. And the beautiful thing about like having these type of stocks, right? It's not just for the fact that you know you have like, this great opportunity for growth long term, but they also give dividends. Like I know Ford recently announced that they're doing dividends. So yeah, these are great opportunities. That's why I'm in it, you know, and I'm heavily involved with these opportunities because it's just great to see where this space is going, as far as like where things are.
Wow. Yeah, dude. There was another car company. I'm trying to figure out like there's a car company that someone told me that that Amazon is using for their trucks, their
Okay,
delivery trucks that's going up. And I didn't know anything about it until a person told me about it, but I don't know. I'm
gotcha.
trying to figure out what it was. I might not be able to figure out. Is that, and I heard Neo. Like, what do you think about Neo?
Yeah, you know, Neil's an interesting stock. Let me go back over here. I know I'm still sharing my screen. Let's just give it a quick search for Neo. So Neo is really interesting because they are an EV car company as well, right? And I mean, they're pretty global. They're not just in North America, but they're also in Germany. I know they're in, obviously they're from China, but you know, they're pretty, they're growing, but they're pretty worldwide, right? So the thing about them, like if you look at the stock, let's do 1 year. So actually, let's do max first, just to look at the grand scheme of things. So like when Neo first IPO'd, right, they were at like $6 in 2019. And then if you just look at last year, they just blew up. I mean, this thing, I thought it was going to go to 100 last year. That was, I remember I said too, Neil's going to go to 100 by the end of the year. That was like one prediction that I was wrong on. The reason is because there's been a lot of things that have occurred, right? Like, there's things with China, like delisting a lot of stocks. I know, like, especially when Trump was office, there was that whole like controversy with TikTok. So a lot of that hurt the brand overall, just because it hurt a lot of brands from China. So I think that's one of the reasons why this stock has gone down. But overall, I still think NEO is a good long-term investment. They don't pay dividends like Ford or Toyota does, but I still think like just looking at this chart, I mean, it looks like it's just going to come down to like maybe 20. I know it did reach, let's just look at the last month. Here we go. So I know it did go down to like 28 at some point, and then it rebounded a little bit to 33. But I don't know, like just because it's a new car company, and I mean their cars are really nice. Just from looking at them, I myself haven't been in one of these vehicles, but they just look great. And I have a feeling, like I said, it's going to come down to like maybe 20, and then slowly start to rebound and go back up. So I think if for me, like just for myself, like I'll never give financial advice in general, but for me, if I'm going to get more of this, which I am planning on, I'm definitely waiting for it to come down to 20. So that's just what I'm looking at.
Oh, so you think it's going to go down a little bit more?
Yeah, it looks like it definitely is. I mean, if you look at, you know, the peak here, 62, I mean, you could just draw the line like just straight down. And I mean, this could be like the bottom here. I mean, just looking at it, right? This could be the bottom. But I mean, just the way the market's been as of late, yeah, I mean, it could definitely come down a little more. It has room to come down. I mean, if you look at this view right here for 1 year, 62 was the top. And I mean, if you just draw the line coming down, it looks like, 20, maybe even 19 might be the bottom, just from here to here. It's kind of hard to do because, I don't have a ruler, but yeah, I mean, I'm just speculating, right? I mean, it can do anything at this point, but yeah, just from looking at this, it looks like it definitely could come down. So it's a good one to keep an eye on for sure.
And speaking of coming down, dude, Bitcoin has come down.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I think it's at like 42 right now. The last time I checked, look at those, man. Those are some ugly graphs.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
41. Wow, it's still coming. Do you think so? What do you think about Bitcoin? Like, as far as what, like, is it going to keep dropping? I hope not, because I mean, I have Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Gotcha. Yeah. Just look at this chart. I mean, if we look at 2017 to now, so one of my predictions a while back was that Bitcoin was going to go to $50,000 to $60,000. I've always believed this, right? And I started to believe it when we were in 2019, just because I was looking at the chart and I'm thinking, like this space is definitely going to blow up. It's going to go mainstream. And sure enough, it definitely did. And I mean, if you look at this chart right here, it's just like on this gigantic wave. So like here we had what was like, I'm trying to get to the peak here. I had it. Oh, it was like 61, 62, 63. Okay, I was close. So we went to 63 back in April, and then we just came all the way down to like 28. I remember this was like 28 was the bottom. So like when we came all the way down here, see if I
Yeah,
can get it accurately. So it's like 29, 28. So when we dropped to this price range, it just slowly did a rebound. So we came all the way up to almost 70, which is pretty amazing. And then because, that was in November 7th, we're basically repeating this part right here. So it looks like it's just going to come straight. Not, I don't know if it's going to come all the way down here because it did rebound sharply from 29. So I think, what are we at? 41. I think the bottom here, maybe 35, maybe 38. And then it'll like start to just do this like gigantic wave. The reason I know this is because of the halving, right? Like whenever Bitcoin does a halving, it comes back up. And we talked about halvings before and everything. So yeah, I have a feeling like it's definitely going to continue to come down. Let's just see the last 7 days what it did. I myself haven't really been paying too much attention to this because if you look at this every day, it's just gonna, you're just gonna get stressed out. So yeah, it looks like in the last month or so, it definitely has come down. It's on a downtrend for sure. Yeah, here we had the bottom at 29 back in July. So it seems like whenever it hits 29 or even the 20 range, it just finds these crazy rebounds. So yeah, it looks like it wants to do something here, like maybe do a little bit of an upswing and then continue to come down. So yeah, like I said, my prediction here is like 30, I want to say 32, maybe 28 again. If it definitely goes to 28 and if it doesn't find any support around that range, then yeah, it's going to continue to go down. But so far, just from looking at the track record, 28, 29 has been the support. So like I said, the grand scheme of things, I mean, this thing could do anything, right? I mean, look at 2017, it came all the way down here to three
yeah.
grand from almost 20. So, I mean, as far as like where this thing can go, to answer your question, it can go two ways. Obviously, it can go up or down, right? But in the grand scheme of things, it can possibly do this kind of thing again. But I say no, just because if you look at this here, we have these two summits, right? We have these two mountain climbs, and obviously all these things have proper like trading terms, which I never applied, but it just looks like it's doing like this kind of like people usually say like head and shoulders kind of thing, right? Like this is the head and this is the shoulder and another shoulder is going to come up. But for me, because of the fact that this did hit 62, 63 here, and then here it hit almost 70, what that tells me that this has potential to rebound and just come straight up and go even higher and just continue to do like this massive climb into like 2025, 2026. It might even do it sooner than that just because of halving's coming up. So I would say like in the next 2 years, it's just gonna like slowly like continue to do this crazy climb. And eventually I think the price peak may be 100,000. Um, and then from there, it can go anywhere. I think from there it's just gonna come down.
Why do you?
But I would say 100,000 is like the top for sure.
What makes you think it's going to go to 100,000?
Sure. So whenever Bitcoin does a halving, right? Whenever they do that halving with the mining, it makes the scarcity for mining even higher. And it did it over here, and then it happened like over here, and what had happened like around here, that's when it just got more valuable. People saw more value in it. I mean, the only way this is really going to go up is if people continue to see value in it. And for me, like I would say 100,000 is the value peak for this coin overall. And then it's going to start to lose its popularity. The reason I say Bitcoin is going to start to lose its popularity is the main reason is because of the fact that it's a electricity hog. This thing, when you mine, it consumes so much electricity.
Yeah.
I have an article here that actually goes into like NFTs and just about like overall, like, because right now the big topic with NFTs is like NFTs, it has an environmental impact. A lot of people have this like mindset and viewpoint that
Mhm.
NFTs are just like electricity hogs, right? Like that's the first thing you hear about NFTs. Oh, NFTs are
Right.
really bad for the environment, right? You've been hearing that a lot. It's actually not entirely true. So if we look at this chart here, the thing that's really bad for the environment is Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin uses this much um,
And
of
what is that?
electricity.
That's kilowatt per year. Is that no? That's TW. What is TWA?
Yeah. So I believe so. This is kind of different, right? It's. I'm not like an electricity genius or expert, but what I would say is like, so I'm not sure what the T stands for, to be honest. I know this has to do with wattage, right? Obviously, it's a
Yeah.
wattage per year. So the main focal point here is because of the fact that you have Bitcoin that's taking 121 and a half wattage per year. So basically, what this chart is saying is that the environmental impact of Bitcoin is obviously high. Bitcoin mining is definitely a problem and an issue. However, when it comes to NFTs, it's a little different because of the fact that you have proof of work. And NFTs is going to play a huge role when it comes to Web3. So Web3 is interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with Web3. Are you
I'm
familiar
not.
with?
Man,
Okay,
you just throw it around like a couple of terms. Like number one, um, the the mining. Like you're saying that there's a difference. Isn't in it, the NFTs are on the Ethereum network, right?
correct. So I'm bringing up this chart here in this article. This is a great article. I definitely will share this with you. So when it comes to energy consumption, first
Yeah.
off, let me talk about Web3. So what is Web3? Web3 is where the internet's going to go, right? Like right now we're in Web2. Web2 is about like e-commerce and like the buying aspect of the internet. So right now, like when you think of the web, what do you think about? You think about Amazon, right? You think about like Netflix, streaming, all these like consumer driven products, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Web 2 is about. Web 3 is going to go even further. It's going to be about like the metaverse. What is the metaverse, right? You've been hearing like
Oh
this like,
God.
right,
Talk about this metaverse.
right. And the thing is like, that's the future. So like, this is where the internet's going to go. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, like Ready Player One,
Yes, I have.
but so, yeah.
Another,
So
there's another movie too. You seen this movie called Virtual Revolution?
I haven't actually. I have to check
Oh
that out.
man, it's like imagine Ready Player One, except for instead of people having fun doing video games, it's like wars being fought.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But go ahead.
Yeah, that's interesting. I bet, like,
I'll send you the link. I think it's on Amazon Prime. I think, but
yeah, definitely I'll check it out. But I have a feeling, I mean, eventually, hopefully, wars will be fought in virtual reality and no one really gets hurt, right? I mean, that would
well,
be awesome.
I think the premise of the movie is like everyone is living in that, like the corporations have taken over the world basically, and they've created this metaverse type of thing, and everyone is in the metaverse. It's not called the metaverse, but like that's what
Right.
I'm calling it. And there's some people who don't want to live in that world, and they are fighting to free. Like I think people, it's gotten to the point where people are enslaved some kind of way in it, or they're addicted to it or something like that. And then there's like
Really?
a rebellion to fight the corporations, and like I don't know. It's, I mean, it has a pretty basic plot line, I think.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I have to check that out for sure.
Yeah,
But
but
I mean, yeah, I mean, the metaverse is going to play a huge role when it comes to like the internet, because that's where the internet's going to go.
yeah,
Like my prediction and my what I'm thinking, what's going to happen with the internet is that it's going to like change from like this whole like instance where you go to like a web page, right, and this is what you're looking at, to something where it goes even further, like VR plays a huge role, like this whole metaverse where you create an avatar. I don't know if you've ever heard of Second Life, but like this came out way back like 10 years ago,
mhm,
where you create like an avatar and you're in this like world where you walk around. It looks like a video game, and you walk around in this world and you can talk to people. You can do like different things in this world, like exercise. You can run. You go on dates. It's really like wild. And my prediction is that's what the metaverse is going to be, right? Like you go into this world where you create an avatar of yourself, or like a character that you want to be in this world, and you go there and you can like do different things. I don't know if you've seen like the Facebook demo that they did on the metaverse, where
yeah,
Mark Zuckerberg was like playing cards with people, and like like they had videos and stuff. That's just a taste of what the capabilities of Web3 can really be. I mean, it can go further than that. I mean, you're talking about like real estate. Real estate and the internet is going to be like the new thing, where you buy a block of real estate and you can basically create like a world, or like a place where people can go. Um, they can like do different things in this real estate. Like you can make like a little city or a house, and people can go and like hang out. Like that's going to be the new thing, and all of that's going to be built within like within the metaverse, and it's going to be built on NFTs. And the thing about NFTs is like right now, like I have this NFT that I made on this little stuffed animal that I have. So this NFT I just did for fun. Like I wanted to check it out, and this is like my penguin plushie that my wife and I have, and we go all over the world with him. We put pictures of him on our Instagram.
yeah,
And so this picture, actually, I can't scroll all the way down because I'm not logged in, but this photo that we have on here, which is this one right here, I mean, this one alone has 8,000 likes on it, but the photo itself, this photo had like 17,000, over 17,000 likes. And it's pretty cool that, people come to this page, because this is like, we created this to be like a happy place. Like, it's something that's very wholesome and genuine and full of love. And I think that because like I have this, right, and I'm like, well, let's just see what happens if I do an NFT. But the thing about NFTs right now, so I just created this like because I want to learn myself. I want to know what this is about. Like, how does this work? Um, and when I did this, the thing about NFTs, so when you create an NFT, I did this on a site called OpenSea. So when you create an NFT, it's actually called minting. When you're minting an NFT, you're basically saying, okay, this is like an NFT. This is something that somebody can own. So if someone actually bids on this and buys it, they own this photo. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why don't they just like right click and download, and then they can have the photo, right? They
yeah,
don't have to buy it, right? I mean, that's valid, that's fair. But this is early technology. This is an infant, okay? You can do so much more with an NFT than just a photo. You can do videos. You can do like movies. I saw an article that someone's gonna like Hollywood's gonna start doing NFT movies. They're gonna do video games and stuff. And the thing is like the reason I think this is so cool is because of the fact that right now, if you were to buy a movie, let's just say you go on Amazon, right, and you buy like a digital movie
yes,
and you watch it, you own this movie, okay, and you watch it. And when you're done watching this movie, what happens with the movie? It just stays in your queue. You're just stuck with it, right? I mean, chances are
yeah,
you might not watch it ever again.
yeah,
It's not like when you buy like a physical movie, like if you go to like Target or even Amazon and you buy a movie and you watch it, you can sell it on eBay, right? You can resell it. The thing is
uh-huh,
that when you have all these digital products, you can't sell them right now. Like when you have these digital movies, when you have these digital video games, it's stuck. You're stuck with it. You can't do anything with it. Well, the thing is like when it comes to NFTs, if you have a movie, that's minted in an NFT, you can watch it. And once you're done watching it, you can put it up on a marketplace like this and sell it. And you know how powerful that is? That means like whatever movies we buy in the future, we own, we can resell them. Same thing with video games. Like I know Ubisoft, Konami, you know, they're targeting the NFT space, and right now they're just doing photos. But if you go beyond that, they're gonna start like selling video games as NFTs. That means people can buy video games, they can like sell them to people. You know, there's like a value there. So I think when it comes back to NFTs, I mean, when you look at the electricity in comparison to like Bitcoin right now, like per transaction, yeah, it's kind of high right now it is, because Ethereum is like all these NFTs are being minted on Ethereum, right? They're proof of work.
Uh-huh.
Eventually they're going to be staked. So it's going to be proof of stake. Once they're done on POS, the kilowatts is going to go down greatly. It's going to be like so minute. Even right now, it's minute. It's not as bad as Bitcoin. So that whole like mindset that NFTs are bad for the environment. I mean, when you mint an NFT, it's basically like driving 500 miles in a car. That's the equivalency of what happens with an NFT. Yeah, it adds up. Yeah, it can be bad. Yeah, there's like bots out there that are like minting NFTs, like 1,000 NFTs like an hour or something, right? So that can add up. So yeah, right now it is an electricity hog, but eventually it's not going to be. And the
So
thing is, like, go ahead.
there's so many questions I have. First of all, what is proof of work and what is proof of is that proof of stake?
Yep.
What are
Yep. So sure. So yeah, proof of stake. So as you can see here, that's right. Like this article is right here. And I mean, you could definitely read more about it, but it's just when you're like, it's kind of like difficult to explain. And like, so when you're staking something, right? So let's try to think of a way to like explain this in layman's terms. So when you're staking something, it's like you're staking a piece of it, right? You're owning a piece of it. So proof of stake says like, you know, you have like, this is your proof of stake into something. You're locking up, like you're saying
oh, I
this is
get it.
so like proof of work. It's this is basically the same concept, right? Overall,
Like
like
you're
I mean,
buying land or something.
right, something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot more technical than that. Like I'm just breaking it down to like the most simplistic way of
So
understanding
you're
it.
buying a piece of the ether the Ethereum network.
Something like that.
Ethereum
Although, so
blockchain.
it's a little more than that. So when you stake something in a native currency, you're saying that you're locking up your currency. So um, let me go back to this photo. So when I have this photo, right? So this photo right here is staked. So like I can actually cancel it, right? And I can say, okay, well, this is no longer being staked. You can do it like with crypto coins as well. There's this coin called Barnbridge where you can do staking with Barnbridge. Now, what does that mean? That means you take some of your coin and you lock it up into a wallet. And when it's in his wallet, it builds like interest. So think of proof of staking. I mean, this is the easiest way to explain it, but the way it works is if you have like a bank account, right? When you have a bank account, you can open a CD, right? When you open a CD, you're locking up your money and it's going to build interest. That's kind of like the same gist of this. You're locking up something and it's going to build interest. It's going to build value. And that's what the concept is behind all of this, is that you're locking something up in order for it to build value.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Is that the same idea when it's proof of work, or is that like a developer thing?
So it is sort of the same thing, but the main problem, the main one problem with proof of work and proof of staking, just to keep it simple, is just the energy issue. Because like even it says here, you know, the usage of proof of work is a huge issue. Like if we look back at this chart, I mean, when you're doing proof of work, it's just a huge energy hog. I mean, it's not as bad as this thing over here, which is when you mine Bitcoin,
Yeah.
but it's just how it works, right? I mean, this is a little more. I'm just breaking this down in the most simplistic way possible because I can go like I don't want to take up too much time on this either because there's a lot of things to cover, but I just want to like, I'm just trying to break this down into the most simplistic way to understand it. I suggest like doing a ton more research on it. I mean, we can have another podcast if you like, where we just talk about like POS and POW and like what's the differences, and like we can
Uh-huh.
even go into like more in depth like with Solana as well, and like what Solana is. Because the thing is, my prediction here, like if we go back, right, just from an investments standpoint, if we look at like the CMC coin market cap here, we see Bitcoin number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, at one point, Ethereum was catching up to Bitcoin as far as market cap is concerned. One of the predictions the overall market is saying is that Ethereum is going to go to 1 trillion, and when that happens, it's going to dethrone Bitcoin.
Really?
And yeah, and I believe it. I don't know if it's gonna like, it could be Ethereum, it could even be Solana. I don't really know because I'm not a fortune teller. Like these are all just guesses, right? These any prediction I make is just a guess. So like there's no this isn't like something that's gonna be set in stone, right? I mean anybody can make a prediction like Nostradamus did. So that's just my guess. The reason I'm saying this is because of the fact that Ethereum has more, for me, Ethereum has more value in comparison to Bitcoin. The reason
Yeah.
I'm saying this is because if there's more things built on Ethereum. You know, there's NFTs, and there's a lot more that you can do with Ethereum than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is more of a store of value. People just use Bitcoin to like put their money into, you know, their centralized currency into it just to keep it safe. But I mean, it's not really safe because obviously the market's tanking right now, right? So like, how safe is your money really in Bitcoin? I mean, if you're gonna just think of it like that, then it's not, right? It's just an investment, so it's risky. But if you think about like the future of the internet, Web3, I think this right here is more safe as far as value is concerned because
And
you're locking up your money into something.
that's my line of thinking, because okay, so if I examine, like if I go through this whole list of coins, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like a
Mhm.
lot of these coins are based on the Ethereum blockchain. And then
Right, right,
when you put that together with like NFTs is going to be a thing, and then the metaverse is going to be a thing, and then
right,
there's some programs or games or whatever that are
right,
based on Ethereum that are being built for the metaverse. It
right.
seems like, and this is what I'm banking on, it seems like Ethereum is going to be here for the long term.
It is. The thing is that, you know, Ethereum, once they do the sharding, right? They upgrade it, right? So that way, going back to this, once they upgrade Ethereum um, to POS, then it's definitely gonna not have so much of an environmental impact. Now, in between then, yeah, between now and then, yeah, it is like it's making an environmental impact. But I'm gonna tell you honestly, there are a lot more things that are worse. Like that are happening, right? People are like, overall, like, look how much we polluted the environment up until now without this stuff, right? Um, so it's not like this is like playing such a huge role that, you know, this is the only thing to blame when it's not. The thing is that when it comes to technology, people are always afraid of change, you know? That just happens in our society. When you had the television coming out, people back then used to say, why is anybody going to sit in front of a screen? No one's going to sit in front of a screen. You know, that's going to fail. Even internet. When the internet first came out, people were
Yeah.
like, oh, no one's going to use the internet. Why are people going to like give their information or buy something on the internet when they could just go to the store? That was a mindset.
Yeah.
Um, and now look, you know, it's like, here we are. So yeah, I get, you know, people have some sort of defensive measures or mechanisms when it comes to technology. But overall, this is going to change the way we look at things, not only in our world, but with the internet. I mean, the internet is heavily integrated in our lives. And Web3 is just going to take it a step further, where it's going to be like Ready Player One, where all our social activities are going to be in the internet. Unfortunately, that's where this world is headed.
That doesn't sound
So
like a good thought, man. I mean, the way
I
social
know,
media is right now.
right,
um,
right, and that's what I'm saying. It's you know, a lot of people may be for it, some people may be against it. I mean, when you look at our current environment, right, people aren't really going out right now. So, I mean, it makes sense in that regard where people are at home, you know, they want to be social. Like this is an alternative. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's another prediction of mine. Like, with these pandemics that keep occurring throughout human history, it's just going to we may have another, virus that comes out and another one that's worse than the other and so forth. We're going to have all these lockdowns that are going to continue. The metaverse can definitely play a huge role in people's lives.
Yeah, dude, you have to see virtual. What is it called? Virtual revolution. Yeah. So man, I have so many. So why do you think? I've heard that. I mean, this is just me hearing things, but I heard that Cardano could take over Ethereum's place, and that's because the bigger thing that I'm hearing about Ethereum, the problem with Ethereum is the gas prices.
Right.
And
That's that. I'm glad you hit that. Yes.
okay,
That's what I was going to talk about with this. So when I made this listing, okay, let me just show you something right here.
uh-huh.
This says $96 as far as like the value, right?
Yeah,
When I made this, the value was 124. No, I'm sorry, 44. The
140.
value was $44. And when I made this listing, the gas price was astronomical. It was just ludicrous because the price was like fluctuating between 120 to $330 within like a matter of like minutes. And that's because Ethereum was up in value, right? So because Ethereum was up in value, the gas prices were high. And I totally agree with you as far as like gas prices. Gas prices are astronomical. Hopefully the upgrade will lower the prices. I'm not entirely sure, right? But that is one problem that Ethereum definitely has. One I wanted to point out, hold on, let me look.
And
There's like a lot of things here.
and
Go ahead.
what exactly is a gas price? That's just the transaction fee, isn't it? The gas
Correct.
prices. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, the gas price is basically the transaction fee. But one coin I wanted to point out or token is something called Mana or Decentraland. So I was looking at this the other day because I saw an article about like how real estate, right? When I mentioned real estate with Web3, that's going to be built on Decentraland, Mana. This is going to play a huge role when it comes to the real estate within Web3. So if you look at this chart, I mean, this chart is so disgusting because I had like a ton of this at one point. I had like, I
Oh,
forgot like how I got it, but I just got it. Like I was like, well, let me just hold this for a little bit. I didn't have that much. I had like maybe 100 of this, and I
yeah.
mean, look, when you look at this chart, I mean, it's just
Jeez, that's a heartbreaker, man.
yeah. So I don't even think I owned this actually. Just thinking back to it, I mean, this is so long ago. I'm barely remembering what I did yesterday, but I just remember seeing this when it was over here, and I had no idea what this stuff was. But this is one example of a crypto coin or crypto token, whatever, however you want to look at it, but a crypto opportunity, as I call it, that's going to play a huge role with the future of where Web3 is going to go and the internet itself, because a lot of real estate is going to be used with Decentraland. So, yeah, I mean, this could be one that definitely is going to continue growing as far as value is concerned because it has a lot of potential with where the technology can go. So I'm not just really saying this from an investing standpoint. I'm saying this more from like an opportunity to use rather than Ethereum, right? When it comes to like minting an NFT, you don't have to just use Ethereum. You can use something else like the Decentraland. So that's just something I wanted to point out. There is a website I learned about recently when it comes to talking about Web3. This is actually a really cool website that you can check out. It's like it talks about like Web3 and it teaches you about decentralized apps and you can earn tokens and stuff. And the cool thing about this website is when you click on use a rabbit hole, it takes you into here as a guest and you can connect your wallet and you can do like different quests, which is basically staking. So if you click on quests, you can start like building things out here. This is good. There's no quest. So if I click on skills, so in order to do more quests, I have to do a skill, right? Acquire a skill. It's kind of like a video game. So if I do, like if I become an active protocol governance participant, for example, or if I do like token swapping, which basically means I'm like trading one coin for another, then I, earn some skills or experience. And this basically is a great opportunity to learn about like Web3. So you did ask me about like staking
Whoa.
and stuff.
So this is
So
basically teaching you how to like navigate cryptocurrency.
it's more like teaching you about like NFTs and just about Web3. So it's teaching you about all the different cryptos here that are going to definitely play a role when it comes to Web3, right? Like these, each and every one of these do different things, like OpenSeas, where you can do NFTs, like mint them, and so forth. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things here. I haven't actually really explored this myself, but it's pretty cool to check out. So yeah, it's called Rabbit Hole.gg. I'll definitely share this with you if you want to check out.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And
So
you're not exchanging real money. You're just like it's almost like you're playing a role or playing a character. Not playing a character, but you're like going through the process, but it's not real money.
oh, you definitely are exchanging real money here. You're definitely exchanging crypto to crypto. So the thing about this that I wanted to point out, so if you do jump into this, just be aware of like the tax repercussions with this, right? Like the tax guidance, I want to say, because if you do something like swapping, for example, that is definitely a taxable event. No matter what type of wallet you use, you can definitely track your taxes when it comes to your crypto wallets. You can definitely um, do your taxes with crypto wallets. Like there's no such thing as like being able to hide your crypto from the government, right? I mean, whatever you do in your wallet is recorded in the blockchain. So when you do a token swap, for example, that's being recorded in the blockchain.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a transaction. So that is a taxable event. So that's the thing about this that's tricky when it comes to navigating is that like all these things that we're doing with NFTs, if someone like if I were to make it like, I mean, it's not going to happen, right? But if I were to make like $1 million on this thing, I would have to be mindful of like the taxes around it, right? Like I would have to do my taxes on this because I'm basically selling something on the internet, which is definitely a taxable event. So that's just something to be aware of because a lot of times, because of the quick pace of technology moving at a lightning speed, it takes time for the government to catch up, right? It takes time for us to know like how to do our taxes. But luckily, there's a lot of resources out there when it comes to doing taxes with crypto. So like TaxBit, for example, is one awesome resource for doing crypto taxes. And you can link up pretty much any wallet. It doesn't matter what type of wallet it is, like MetaMask, for example. Like here's my MetaMask wallet right here. MetaMask, you can definitely do your crypto taxes with because it records all your transactions within the blockchain.
Nice, nice, nice. So this isn't like what's the advantage of you? Why would I use this when I can just use my normal like I have crypto in like Coinbase? Like why would I use
Sure.
this over something like Coinbase?
Sure. So the difference between this and like Coinbase is, so I haven't been on Coinbase. I don't think I've ever been on. I'm not even familiar with like, I mean, things change, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not on Coinbase currently. Let's just say that I'm not on there now. So I'm actually not even invested in crypto anymore. But the thing is that when it comes to having your money on an exchange or doing something on an exchange, you're basically being an investor. This is just a little more further where you're doing a little more with crypto, where you're swapping, where you're becoming verified, where you're owning a piece of like actual crypto, right? Like a non-fungible token. Whereas like when you invest in crypto, you're owning that piece of Bitcoin, which is great, but that's more like for transactions. This is more like something that's ownership. This is something that you actually own that's basically on the internet. Because like if you were to buy something, like I said, it goes back to what I said before. When you were to buy something on the internet, you can't resell it. You're just stuck with it. So this is more like I own it and I can sell it kind of deal. Like books, for example. One thing I wanted to talk about was like you can actually mint a book as an NFT, which is actually really cool too, because that means I'm a writer myself. So like these are my books right here that I've written. So like these books right now,
Oh,
if you
I
were to
thought you
buy them,
written like wait, hold on, time out. I thought you wrote like three at most. You've written more than
yeah, yep, yep.
three. How many?
So yeah, I've written, let's just take a look. My cart, by the way, I was shopping earlier, but I've written one, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Working on number 10 right now. So I've written 9 books.
Like, where do you find the time to write 10 books, man?
Yeah, I don't sleep much, as you can tell from me like talking so much.
Nice. All right. But you can go ahead.
So yeah, so the thing is when you buy a book, right? Like say you were to buy
Yeah.
one of my books. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, you cannot resell my books because it just goes on your Kindle and it just stays there. But the cool thing is with NFTs, if you were to buy a book that's minted in an NFT, you read it and you can resell it, which is really cool and really powerful. So, yeah, I mean, that's just another segue into like where the technology can go and how great it can be. I mean, obviously, like I said, it can do way more than this. I'm just keeping it very basic for now, because I'm myself still am learning about this. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool technology that's out there, and that's why I would say like, when it comes to NFTs, it's something that is I think is more valuable than just like having your coins on an exchange and just investing in crypto. I mean, yeah, you can definitely make money still with crypto and you can lose it too, but at the same time, if you want to start getting more involved with the internet, especially where it's going, you can own a piece of something on the internet now, which is totally new and capable, like totally new and not even like capable now. Like I said, you can't even own something right now on the internet that you buy digitally because you can't really sell it, right? Like, yeah, you own it, but you can't sell it. So it's kind of like you half own it.
Yeah.
Whereas
Like, it's
where
not
this is
really
going,
ownership. Yeah.
right, right, and that's like the controversy with the internet right now is like, okay, I own this, but what am I supposed to do with it when I'm done with it? And that's where this replaces that concept.
Oh, and you'll buy. So my question is, so let's say that that happens tomorrow. Everything works out where like you can like buy an NFT book on the Ethereum blockchain, and you read this book as an NFT, and you're like done with it. Like
Right.
where do you sell it? Are you going to sell it at an exchange? Is it going to be
Sure.
some company like Amazon where you're like
Sure.
or is it open sea?
Yeah, OpenSea is definitely one site where you can sell things. I mean, right now, like a lot of people use this for like art, right? Like pictures and paintings, but there are other sites too that are out there. But you can definitely like just look at like someone's collection, right? I mean, if you look at the things that they're selling, it's pretty much all art, right? Like
Everybody
that's
on the ape thing, is that gonna get old, dude? Like every single NFT I see is this ape.
yeah, yeah, it definitely is going to get old. I mean, I don't know if like, I mean, this concept may get old, right, of the ape thing, but I don't think like art's really not going to go away, because it's always going to be there, right? You're always going to have art collectors, and the thing is, it's not just art that's going to be minted. Like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like Topps, right, the baseball card company,
Yes.
they're going to start doing NFTs as well, which is actually really cool.
If everyone starts doing NFTs, then that's a lot of power, man. Like, and I mean, look, when you say that a lot of energy is being used, right? Where is this
Right.
energy being used? Is it like some guy in his basement with a hundred CPUs, and he's like, and he has the power to like do that, the mining, I guess is what it's called.
That's exactly it. It's the mining. It's when you do the transaction that happens, right? That remember, I don't know if you recall like a previous conversation where you do transactions on internet, right? When you or not the internet, sorry, we do transactions in crypto is basically because of the mining, right? You're sending something to the blockchain. And
Hmm.
when you send something to the blockchain, that's where the energy consumption is being used because someone is mining that right now. So that's why this is a resource hog when it comes to that because of the mining part of it. So that's where proof of staking is going to come in to play and lower the costs of electricity. So yeah, I'm saying it's 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 going to improve. It's not going to be expensive forever, especially because this is going to play such a pivotal role when it comes to the internet and Web three, I should say. It's definitely going to be lowered. It's not going to be expensive forever. In other words, same thing with gas fees; they may not even be expensive forever. So
That,
But yeah, I mean, and here you can definitely, like I said, I don't know. Let's just do a quick search for like music. Let's just see if you can buy music on here. You can. I mean, you can definitely own music on here. So
what kind of player are you going to play this on? What do you like? I don't understand. Like, what you
sure.
get and play it?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly am not entirely sure because I've actually never bought music on a blockchain before. It's the only thing I've done is music, but what I would say is when you make the offer, they send it to you in the blockchain and you should be able to download it. I mean, that's just what would make sense, right? Let's just look at books, see if someone's selling a book. But yeah, I mean, you have animal coloring books, you have book Z. Um, yeah, people are definitely selling books on here, Little Women. So
That's
yeah, like I said,
that's crazy. What is this? A multiple page book?
so it's just literally a book. So yeah, it's just I would assume like you buy this book and they give you the book, and it's gonna be on a blockchain. You could just read it. I honestly don't know because I've never bought a book on here. Like I said,
How
I'm
much
just
does this
saying,
cost right here?
sure. So it's $32 for this book.
Oh, maybe I'll try it out and buy a book one day.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing to keep in mind when it comes to this stuff, right? There's two things to keep in mind. One, the price. So the price is going to fluctuate because Ethereum fluctuates. So if I do a refresh, it's still 32. But yeah, a lot of times because Ethereum goes up and down throughout the day, this price is going to change. So that's just something else to keep in mind. It could go lower or higher. So that's where the investment, again, that's where the value comes into play, in comparison to like other things. So because it's tied to fiat, it's always going to have this like fluctuating value. But the way I would look at it is that it's worth 0.01 Ethereum.
Yeah.
Just makes life a little easier.
And you said something else. You said there was a second thing too. Is the second thing you have to worry about the gas fees for buying?
Not so much gas. I would say the taxes.
Oh, you get charged taxes for making a purchase?
I mean, you're making a purchase on the internet, right? So yeah, when it comes to making purchases, like if I were to buy something on Amazon, right? If you were to buy one of my books, you're going to get charged tax on here.
Yeah.
So what I would say is this is where it's tricky right now with the technology because there's no guidance on this right now. Like if I were to buy something, what are the taxes going to be on here? Are there taxes involved? Like you can make an offer. Let's just click buy. Let's just find. I mean, I don't have the coin in here, but look, see, you don't see anything about taxes here.
But you're still gonna owe taxes.
You're still going to owe taxes. So if someone were to buy, let's just see if we can find art or painting, that's worth a lot of money, right? Let's just go into here to see if we can find a painting really quick. So if we go into here and like this one right here is worth 1 Ethereum, which is $3,000. So because this is over a certain amount of money, there's taxes involved. But if you look at this, there's no taxes here. So what this means is that whatever people buy on the internet, so if I were to buy this painting right now, this transaction is going to get recorded into the blockchain. Okay. If I'm using my wallet, which is the MetaMask wallet, it's going to get recorded into my wallet. What that means is when I do my taxes next year, this is going to show up in my taxes that I purchased a painting for this amount of money, which means I'm going to owe whatever the taxes is going to be, depending, obviously it's going to vary with each person where they're located. But I would say, let's just say 10%, right? Just for argument's sake. So I'm going to owe 10% in taxes on this transaction.
And you're gonna have to keep up with that yourself because the website doesn't, obviously it's not
Right.
charging you taxes.
Right. Right. And I mean, that's the same with crypto investing, right? You're going to have to keep track of your own uh, trading habits, right? If you short sell, if you long term, whatever, you have to keep track of that, in order to do your taxes on it. I mean, there's no way around it. You have to do your crypto taxes, on all this stuff because it's like anything else in life when it comes to taxes and money because you're in a way this has value in fiat because this has value in fiat and it's tied to fiat. you have to have some sort of tax guidance on this and tax repercussion on this. So that's just something else to keep in mind.
Man, that's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, right. That's why this space, crypto is cool. Crypto is really interesting, but this space is still in its infancy, and things need to catch up in order for this to really work. The taxes need to get caught up. The fact that it's tied to fiat and it's going to continue fluctuating, they gotta figure that out too, because eventually this is going to grow so much in value. People aren't going to be able to afford any of this stuff. So that's the other complication with this. So
A lot of
yeah.
complications, man.
Yeah, crypto's very complicated because, like I said, this stuff is still pretty new.
But why aren't you investing in any crypto right now? And you just in stocks, or is that like, or are you doing something else?
Yeah, it's mainly because of the stocks. I like the fact that, when you do stock trading, it's just pretty straightforward, right? You know what you're doing. You know at the end of the year, like all your trades are organized. You can see charts. You can see everything. When it comes to the taxes, that's supplied to you, right? They give you the correct forms. When you do crypto, they give you different forms. They give you a form that basically takes your sells and your buys and puts them together as profit or as gains. So that form right there kind of complicates things because that form is given to the IRS, and then you got to go and show, well, wait a minute, some of those transactions are losses, they're not all gains. So that's where the complication comes in, and you got to keep track of your own transactions as well. And I'm just lazy. I don't like to keep track of things when it comes to that. And I mean, the market's going down too, so I'm just waiting to see where it goes before I just jump in. Because in all honesty, that whole like volatile aspect of it, where Bitcoin goes to like 40,000 to like 38,000 in 10 minutes. I mean, those crashes are very stressful.
So, yeah, so stocks are better.
Yeah, in some regard. I mean, as long as you're involved with money, there's no such thing as things that are better or not, because anything can crash, right? So it has a lot to do with just the way things crash, because at least with the stock market, if something were to drop more than like 5 or 7%, the stock market would pause that trade. Like AMC, for example, last year, when everyone was pumping AMC, the stock market was being paused because of that. When the pandemic was declared a pandemic back in March of last year, or actually, I'm sorry, 2 years ago now, 2020, the stock market paused because people were panicking, right? When people panic, the stock market freezes. So to try and like calm investors down. When it comes to crypto, you don't have that at all. Nothing freezes, nothing stops it. It's just going to keep crashing down. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm not really in it anymore. I've been doing it since what, 17 or so, 16. I can't even remember anymore. I'm just like, I need a break. I'm getting old.
Alright. Well, another thing, one last thing, your writing, man. Like you've written 10 books. Like, how many page? Like, what's your process for writing?
Sure. Yes, my process of writing is it's like, the thing is, I don't like, personally, I don't really like to read. Okay. So that
You
starts my
love to
process.
write.
That starts it right there, because I don't really like to read myself. I'm like, I have a short attention span sometimes when it comes to reading, because I don't know what it is about reading, but it just puts me to sleep. I don't know if this is just me. Does it do it to you? Do you fall asleep when you read?
No, I don't. So, I
Okay.
mean, if it's boring, yes, but like usually I'm an aggressive reader. I'm trying to get to the point, and so I'm like,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So maybe it's just me, but when I read, I fall asleep. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I'm falling asleep, how many other people are falling asleep? And the reason I'm falling asleep is because there's like so much description in these books, right? So what I'm doing with my writing is I'm like getting straight to the point. I don't get too descriptive, but I give enough description that at least the reader can kind of put it together themselves. So for example, I'll say someone has a red shirt, right there, boom, red shirt, right? I don't really get too involved in that unless it plays a pivotal role with what they're doing. But for me, like, I try to keep things short and simple. So 10,000 to 20,000 words is my limit. when it comes to writing. So my process is first, I'm going to say to myself, okay, what do I want to write about? Luckily, I have a vivid imagination, so my dreams play a huge part in my writing. So a lot of these books that I'm writing are based on dreams that I've had. So I had a dream last year where Hugh Jackman and Jim Carrey played the role of characters that were sort of not precisely exact of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I wrote like a concept of this book, like a rewrite, but then my own version where they weren't even called that and they didn't even like act the same. It was just the concept was there, but it wasn't precisely the same story. So that's just an example of like the type of dreams that I've had where it became a book.
Nice. So what do you like? How do you remember? Most people can't remember their dreams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember all my dreams, but the dreams like that, I remember. And when I wake up in the morning, I'll like put notes down. Like, for example, I had a dream recently. I don't really want to get too involved in this dream, but I had a dream where it was like a prison story, right? So somebody was in jail. So I was like, okay, so let me just write down the notes of this. And then I had another dream of like robots. And I'm like, well, let me see if I could put these together. And no, it doesn't work. Well, this is a separate story, robots. Let me just write this down. So whenever I wake up in the morning, I write it down, like what I dreamt about. Like I'll send a text message to myself or to somebody else. They may not know what I'm talking about, or like I'll send an email. And then from there, I start to build the characters out. Okay, well, what characters do I want to put in this? Who do I want to get involved? Who are the protagonists, antagonists? The main thing that I ask myself before I even start writing is how long do I want this to be? And then I try to keep it within that limit.
So how long is your longest book?
Yeah, the one I'm writing right now is almost 20,000 words, and that's the cutoff. So 20,000 is like the cutoff. So my longest book up to now has been about like 23,000. I went a little over, but I haven't published that one yet. So yeah, I had a book about like I'm sorry, a dream about like a virus. And I'm like, I know it's kind of related to what we're going through, but I'm like, well, it's like a zombie kind of virus thing. So I'm like, well, let me write this out. And I wrote this book already, but I'm just waiting till things calm down. I'm being very respectful and sensitive to like the current situation with the pandemic, and I don't want to like put something out there that's already kind of happening. So I'm
Yeah,
writing about other things right now.
this might be the perfect time to put that out though.
Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned this to me. I may put it out this year for Halloween. We'll see. I'm still toying with the idea.
You know what? I'm gonna buy one. I've never bought one of your books. I'm gonna buy it and check it out, man. That sounds like a short read. Isn't 20,000 words? This is like a long blog or something.
So yeah, I mean, 20,000 words is basically like 100 pages. I mean, double spaced. So it's not like it's that long. I mean, these are, like I said, these are really short. My former coworkers actually, they were having a going away party in Chicago after I already moved,
Yeah.
and everybody there bought my book, which is called The Hero in Time, which you've seen on my Amazon bookshelf. Here, I'll share my screen again just so you can see. Let me click on the book so I can bring it up. Let's bring this book up. All right, let me just share my screen really quick. All right, here we go. So this book right here, I actually bought all my books too, so I can read them. But yeah, so this book right here, this was actually one of the first books I've ever published. And I shared it with all my coworkers and they read it. And only like one of my friends left a review, but all my coworkers that read this book, they gave me feedback and they really liked it. And they actually, when they were having a going away party for somebody, they talked about my book too. And that was like very inspiring for me. But yeah, this book is basically about this guy who time travels in his underwear. Um, so yeah, I'm actually going to turn this book into a graphic novel pretty soon as well.
What are you gonna hire someone to animate it?
I am actually. I already have an artist that I've been working with. His name is Carlos Diaz. I found him on Fiverr. He's super awesome. I can send you his link as well. He does all the illustration for me. So yeah, he's gonna do a kind of like a variant cover of this because an illustrator named Andy Dunlop did the cover, which is super awesome with this one. But since the other one's a graphic novel, I want to make it look more like a comic book.
And all of your books are they Kindles? Well, not Kindles. They're not Kindles. Are they can only be
The
accessed
format,
on the
yeah.
Kindle?
Right. Yeah, they're formatted for Kindle. So I'm just keeping it simple right now because the thing is, if I were to self-publish this myself, where I do all the printing and all the legwork, that's actually very expensive. And I
Yes.
know this from experience, because this book over here, since we are talking about these novels, this book right here, I wrote this back in 2015. My brother actually did the cover for this book. And this one I did like a notebook where I printed it out. I went to Kinko's, I printed out all the paper, I put the like binder together. It was like a red notebook. This thing cost me like $350 to put together just for 10 bucks.
Oh
So
God, that's a killer.
yeah, and it's poetry, and the reason it was so much is because I made it special. You know, it's got color, it's got a spiral, like a notebook spiral, and all these other things. Could I have done it cheaper elsewhere? Sure. Will I do it again? Possibly. But for now, I'm going to keep it with Amazon, just because the majority of the people out there have Amazon Kindles and they have an Amazon account.
Yeah. Do you still have those 10 books that you have or with you?
So I'm actually, so yeah, I actually sold majority or sold the majority of them because this was back in like 2015. So yeah, I have like one left that's mine. But yeah, I might do it again. I'm definitely gonna do. So there is a book that I did. It's called Huge Penis. Let me just. I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. She just kept sharing my screen. So let me bring this one up here. So yeah, this book right here is called Huge Penis. This is the first one right here. This cover, the name of the character, Huge Penis, came up in a conversation I was having with my wife one day. It was on a Sunday over breakfast, and I said to her, I have this idea, I had this dream about a cop who like was kind of like an 80s like superstar, but I can't think of a name. And we were just like playing with word puns, and she told me Huge Penis. And I'm like, because like Hugh Grant, like Hugh, like is an actual name, and Spinus sounds like something out of Europe, like Germany or somewhere. So I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is like the best name I've ever heard. So I've done two books already. I've published two books. This is the first one right here.
Yeah.
It has the longest title I've ever done. It's maybe the like a Guinness Book of Record for the longest title. I don't know. But yeah, this is like the first book I did. The feedback has been amazing. A lot of people have liked this book as well. It's a comedy. The second book right here is Huge Penis and the Golden Dragon's Talon. Now this is kind of a funny book because dragons actually don't have talons; they have claws. But that's part of like the comedy with being a 1980s like action novel, right? Because back then all those movies from the 80s, and even in the early 90s, they were ridiculous, right? So that's where this is going. And the third one is called Huge Penis and the Mad Babushka, which takes place in Russia. So that one's coming out this month. And my wife was reading it the other day and she was laughing hysterically. I mean, it was so loud. So she loves that book too, the third one. And she's very critical when it comes to my books. Like she'll give me like valid feedback.
Yeah.
So for her to really like that book says a lot. So I'm really excited to publish the third one. And I'm going to take all three of these and put them into a printed version as well. So if anybody wants to own a printed version, it'll be available towards the end of this month.
Nice. So when she's reading like a copy before you publish it, what is she reading it on her Kindle or you have it on private or something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually have the file. So I take the PDF file and then I convert it to a Kindle file and I give it to her and she reads it and proofreads it for me. I am looking for a proofreader as well to like really give me feedback on my books because the hardest part, when you talked about process, the hardest part for me has been the proofreading because I can read a book line by line and I think I covered everything right, but then there's still grammatical errors that I may have not have seen. For example, like I had one that said he clenches his it's supposed to be fists, but I forgot the word s and it said fits. And like Grammarly, which I use, and I use a couple other things, it won't catch that
Yes, I use
because it's
Grammarly too, and it's yeah, and I've seen stuff like I mean, I love Grammarly, but it will miss something like that.
right, right, and that's where a proofreader comes in handy. And I did hire like a couple people, and the thing about me is like I'm trying to be a perfectionist with my writing because for me, like if there's even one typo, I feel like that ruins it for everybody. It's like a movie. Like if you're watching a movie and there's a movie mistake, that ruins it for everybody. So yeah, I'm trying to get like a proofreader who could definitely at least get 95% grammatical errors down. So yeah, that's been the hardest part for my novels. It's just the proofreading. That can be very costly. So yeah, when you talk about process, read a lot of your books over and over and get a proofreader. I use Fiverr a lot. So that's the most important part. And it doesn't hurt to have like a catchy novel cover like this as well.
Do you now? I have a free trial with Scrivener. Have you heard of that one? Scrivener.
No, I haven't.
It's like, so Grammarly is for grammar, obviously, but Scrivener is like to like organize your notes. And if you have, I feel like it's for like a big project. I don't know, but whenever I'll send you the link and just get your opinion since you've written books before. But I've been using it. I mean, it's okay. It's a lot to learn because it's a whole software product. It's like an app on your Mac, and it's on your phone as well. And you can you use it to um, organize your notes, organize the chapters. Then you have bullet point, like it's a whole thing. I'll have to show it to you, but since I'm writing like nonfiction, this is going to be like a digital marketing book. Like, I know,
Gotcha.
kind of boring, not as fun as a novel, but it's my first try at it. I'm like, I write all the time about this stuff, and I need to like condense it into a form
Right.
it's digestible.
Yeah. Yeah. Fiction and nonfiction are two different beasts, right? I mean, my process may not even work for your, your goals when it comes to nonfiction, because nonfiction is an entirely different entity when it comes to writing. So that's just something else to consider. But yeah, I mean, my advice to you is rewrite to your friend. If you start writing something and you feel like you're stuck, take a break, come back to it later. If you don't
Yeah.
like something, it may actually be good if you don't like something that you write. That's the ironic part of things. So yeah, never doubt your writing. That's the most important part too. When you write something, be proud of it and share it with everybody.
Yeah, you know what? I have to get better at that because I remember I created that card. I gave you one of those cards. You know what? I have to send you the new card game. And the thing about it is, I think I've got it to a point where I want it to be, but dude, I'm so terrified to play it with people, man, because that's like my baby. If you say something
Right.
bad, man, I'm gonna. So, but yeah, you're right. Just don't be afraid to share it with people.
Right. Right. I mean, these things I shared with you today, I mean, the writing, right? The plushy penguin. I mean, all these things. This is like a big part of my life, and I'm more than happy to share it with everybody because for me, like this is what I want to leave in the world when I'm gone. I want people to remember me. I mean, I guess by a plushy penguin, but more so by my books. I want people to remember, like to read this one day and be like, like Walt Whitman or even Hemingway. I'm not comparing myself to them, but I'm just saying, I could be an Andrew Luna out there and be like, oh, this weird guy wrote these weird books. They're pretty funny. So let's see.
Nice, nice. I'm definitely gonna get one. I might get one tomorrow when I wake up, man. Dude, it was
Awesome. I
good
appreciate the
catching up,
support.
man. Oh, no
Yeah, like
problem. I appreciate you, dude. You just shared like a lot of knowledge, man, that I still have to parse through, especially with NFTs. I'm gonna try my hand at it. I think the last time I tried, I think what held me back was I needed to like I had no idea it was gonna cost that much to make one. I think it was
yeah,
like $50 or something and plus gas prices, and it was a lot of, I was like, I can't figure this out right now, so but I'm gonna take another stab at it.
right, right. Yeah. It's tough, right? I mean, it plays the market plays a huge role, obviously, like when Ethereum is up, it's expensive to mint an NFT. And that's why they cost so much too, because of the gas prices. So when you see like news reports about like astronomical prices being spent or money being spent on astronomical prices for things, it's because of the gas, right? And I mean, when it comes to that stuff, like I said, it's new technology. All of this space is new, and people just have to be aware of what they're getting themselves into, not just like financially. with the investment side, but like the tax side too. I can't stress that more than enough. Like when it comes to the internet taxes, because it's new, and you know, the government's going to take time to catch up to all this stuff, but eventually, like everything's going to be aligned, and you know, it'll make more sense. I mean, look how long it took to get sales tax on the internet in general, right? I mean, like 20 years ago, we would buy things without any sales tax, and
Yeah.
now look, like that's a huge part of things. So that's going to catch up too. I mean, you're going to have sales tax and all these things. It's just a matter of time. But in the meantime, like it would be beneficial to learn about this stuff and to see, you know, where the technology goes. Because like I said, this is going to be a big part of our lives, whether we like it or not. You know, this is like where things are going, where the industry is headed.
Yeah. Yeah, this is correct. This is correct. All right, man. Let me stop our recording. I don't know if that was a proper way to